I'm going to start right here, actually. There's video from Family Council up on the Family Council's website. Joe, listen to this. They do some great videos. I love this guy's voice. He's got some great pipes. Listen.
This is news from Family Council. A major gay rights organization is pushing for 20% of all television characters to be LGBT by the end of year 2025, according to a report called Where We Are on TV, which was released from the Gay and Lesbian Alliance Against Defamation. The presence of characters who identify as LGBT in television programming is key to changing hearts and minds in culture. The featuring of LGBT-identified characters in movies and TV programming geared toward young children has already begun. Earlier this year, children's programs Arthur and My Little Pony included same-sex weddings and couples. A 2017 episode of Star vs. the Forces of Evil on the Disney Channel depicted gay couples kissing, among others, during a boy band concert. That same year, the Disney Kids series Andy Mack featured a 13-year-old character who realizes he is gay and comes out to his friends. Family Council, promoting, protecting, and strengthening traditional family values in Arkansas. Visit us online at familycouncil.org.
Here with more on this story is Family Council's Ken Yang. Ken, how are you this morning, sir?
Oh, I'm doing good. That video it makes me roll my eyes.
I mean, it's nuts, right? I mean, we're talking at most, 5% of the population, but they want by 2025, 20% of all television characters to either be lesbian, gay, bisexual, transsexual, and the rest of them. And then I guess eventually they're going to want all those to be equal as well.
Yes, I mean, you talked about it before. We've talked about it before, where it's their attempt to normalize perversion. Where's the caveat? Not only do they want to, infiltrate our schools, but now they want to infiltrate, the family, the nuclear family, as they've always been trying to tear down. And who's going to tell these children that are watching it at the beginning of the show, guess what, kids? Y'all would not exist with a mommy and a daddy and daddy.
Ooh, I love it. You're exactly right. The reason I say I love it is because it's just so not politically correct. And when you, when you said normalize perversion, for those of you that might have a problem with that statement, folks, kids don't know about sex. Like, they don't care about it either. And so we have adults who are obsessed with sex and want to sexualize kids when they're not, they just want to play with trucks and watch some cartoons,
Yeah, man, you get on to not just the just the gay aspect of it, but now you have the transgender movement, and these people telling boys that they can be girls or girls that they can be boys. And there was another article I think we posted recently about how people that have gone through sex change operations are actually 19 times more likely to commit suicide. But the issue is not like they're not going to become happier because you've normalized their perversion. There's a deeper problem that needs to be addressed. You talk about gender dysphoria and other it is a mental illness that needs to be addressed. And so whether it's LGBT or whichever letter they want to use, they have pushed really, really hard to try to normalize this type of behavior and to try to call everyone that's not on board of normalizing it some sort of bigot, discriminatory person.
Yeah, and nothing could be further from the truth. I say this not knowing or not the context is not lost on me, Ken. That Disney Plus just launched their streaming service, and I know a lot of people are, excited about it and everything. But the fact that you have, Disney coming out with a lot of these cartoons as well that are promoting this, and My Little Pony, you've got to have since when were we concerned about My Little Pony, which I'm assuming is a show that's marketed towards girls, but you've got to make sure that you've got the lesbian aspect of this represented. I mean, that is perversion. That's perverted. Yep. Like, leave the kids alone. Quit trying to social engineer. It's not, it used to be the government that would try to social engineer the people, and they still are. But now we have Hollywood trying to warp and change the minds of our kids.
Yes, yes, and which makes it to where our parents need to be more vigilant. Our teachers need to be more vigilant, and people need to start being more vocal. Our elected officials need to be more vocal and pushing back on this LGBT agenda. It's no longer okay to just sit there and say, well, it's not a problem, so there's no need to pass a bathroom bill or a government non-discrimination bill or a religious liberty bill. Like, we keep waiting around for a problem to arise, but instead the problem's already here and they're on the attack, but we just sit idly by because everyone seems to be, well, not everyone, but a good part of our elected officials seems to be afraid of this very vocal minority.
That's exactly right. A very vocal minority. And real quick, coming up in the next legislative session, which isn't until 2021, Ken, I know you've talked about this before, but conscience protection. This is something that I think is going to pass, and I think it's going to be a big victory for the people of Arkansas. Don't you?
I think so. I think it's right in that realm of they like to bring it into the realm, the LGBT people, but it's right in the realm of religious liberty, and it's a pro-life bill all in one. I think you've had Representative Grant Smith, who's carried it for the past two sessions on your show before talking about it. And, it's important. Conscience is probably the most important thing that we have, and it's coming under attack. And, it's a law that we need. A state like Illinois has it, for goodness sakes. Mississippi has it. President Donald Trump came out recently and supported the rights of conscience. And, it's time that we protected people's deeply held religious, moral, and ethical convictions when it comes to the healthcare industry in this particular instance. Because we see all these people being forced to. You saw the case in Texas. Thank goodness for that judge of the little boy almost being forced to start gender reassignment treatment.
Yeah, with the hormone blockers. Yeah, so to be clear, if you're a medical professional and you're told that you've got to do X, if it's not an emergency, and it's against your moral convictions, like let's say you were told, hey, you have to transition this person male to female, or you have to perform this abortion, you would be able to say no based on your conscience, and you wouldn't be able to be fired, correct?
Correct. And, if you're a doctor that works for a hospital that's, referring folks, you just say, well, y'all need to refer to a different doctor that wants to do it. If you're a nurse that works for a doctor, you should say, no, you need to find someone else on staff that wants to do it. If you're hiring new people, it's not like we're going after employers. If you're an employer, you're hiring new people, and one of the things you do is that type of procedure. You can list it on your list of job duties, and if that person doesn't want to do it, they can go apply to work someplace else.
Yes.
But to say that we hear time and time again, well, it's not a problem. It's not a problem. Why do we need to pass this? It's just like, how many more examples do you need of them coming after our conscience? And it's never a problem until it's something that happens to us personally. But by that point, I believe it's too late.
Can you talk a little bit about the stories that we hear about licensed psychologists who consider themselves Christian psychologists? And you have some people starting to say that, if you got a patient in there, you've got to accept, and let's say that they're trans, you can't deny them that, because you couldn't say it's a psychological condition we need to treat. Or let's say you're a Christian psychologist and you have someone who's gay, and you say you try to steer them toward maybe a biblical worldview. Do we need to address that as part of this as well?
Yes, we need to address whether it's Christian psychologists. We need to address our school counselors. We need to, there are stories in states where children go to their counselors and tell them that I think that I'm a boy when they're a girl, or things in that realm, and that they keep it from their parents. The counselor should be obligated to tell their parents their children. We hear stories where, instead of normalizing gender dysphoria, where there was this, little boy who ended up, their parents had another baby, and it was a girl, and, he felt like he was neglected, and he was acting out. He started trying to be like a girl, and, instead of just saying, well, let him be a girl, they actually took him, and they saw a counselor, and the little boy was just saying, well, they've been spending so much time with my sister, I thought my parents just like girls, so if I became a girl, they would spend more time on me.
Wow.
And, it's things like that the public and that the news, they don't want to talk about. They don't want to share those types of stories because they just want to normalize their perversion.
Yeah. Ken, one last question, and I know this really wasn't, what we'd planned to talk about, but news kind of developed yesterday. The Chick-fil-A thing, not giving to these Christian charities like Salvation Army and Fellowship of Christian Athletes. Just kind of react to that. I mean, I've already talked to one guest about it today, but I'm pretty disappointed. What do you think?
I'm pretty disappointed too. It's a poor decision. I posted about it on my public page, and some people are trying to twist it where they said, "Oh, well, they're still giving to Christian charities, and they want to protect or they want to help the homeless and all that stuff." But the largest provider of helping the homeless and people in need is the Salvation Army, a group that they're no longer giving to. So to say that they're not kowtowing to the LGBT community is just false. The CEO, Dan Cathy, should know better. This is not within their family's core beliefs that they started Chick-fil-A with, and it's just disappointing. I hope they'll reconsider.
Me too.
And I know, some people want to say, well, they're still helping. Great. I love the fact that they're still helping people, but the Salvation Army and the Fellowship of Christian Athletes are very worthy in deserving charities that they should still be given to.
Ken Yang with Family Council, familycouncil.org. Appreciate it, sir. It's always great to talk to you.
Yep. Thank you.
All righty.